Hi, Leyla Acaroglu here. I'm running through a series of concepts and tools that designers and product engineers can use when introducing sustainability as a strategic decision-making tool into the design process. This tutorial covers lifecycle thinking. Lifecycle thinking, or LCT, is a strategic decision-making tool used across organizations to facilitate more effective sustainable design and innovation outcomes based on a holistic assessment of a product, system, or service across its entire life. By taking a lifecycle approach, designers and product engineers can identify the opportunities for environmental cost and production efficiencies. Essentially, everything that is created goes through several key lifecycle stages: the extraction of raw materials, manufacturing, transportation and packaging, use, and end of life. Each of these life cycle stages has a variety of inputs, such as material, energy, and water, and outputs, such as waste, emissions, pollutants, and byproducts. These can be identified and assessed for their environmental impacts at each of the different life cycle stages that a product or material goes through. We use the scientific process of life cycle assessment to gain a much more detailed understanding of these impacts, and we can draw conclusions from the results that are published by LCAs. Life cycle thinking employs a series of strategic tools, such as life cycle assessment, eco-material comparisons, good decision-making, and eco-design strategies. Professional designers and engineers are already trained in critical thinking. Lifecycle thinking employs the similar strategies, understanding that the natural environment and the technical world are made up of complex systems that need to be identified and assessed in detail in order to make effective sustainability choices. One of the main reasons why life cycle thinking is an important part of strategic sustainability is that the alternative to using a scientific or rigorous assessment process is to rely on our intuition, or what we call environmental folklore. This is essentially our gut instincts about what is good and bad for the environment. The problem is that the social, environmental, and industrial systems that we are operating within and negotiating are very complex, and many of our intuitive guesses are based on our experiences, our interaction with the media, the things that we've read, or perhaps just a Google search. So unless we've spent a lot of time and energy in developing our environmental intuition and refining our folklore so that it's quite advanced and it understands these intricacies, then we often make decisions that we don't know the consequences of. By taking a life cycle approach, we break things down into the life cycle stages that they interact with and understand where our sphere of influence is as a designer or engineer. Another feature of life cycle thinking is conducting functionality analyses at the early concept development. What are you trying to achieve? What are the outcomes? And how can the decisions that you make as a designer or engineer ultimately affect the efficiencies of the product across its life? Not just in material manufacturing and production, but also in packaging and transportation, use, and end of life.